This is your spring game review covering the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and their blue and gold game. Good evening. I am Rico Swavae, the definitive and international voice of college football, broadcasting live to you from the College Pigskin Studio here in Barstow, California. Today we turn our attention to South Bend, Indiana for the 2026 Spring Blue Gold game. Due to the pompous arrogance of the football program, in failing to join a conference, they will be the only emphasis for this broadcast. Coming off a 2025 snub bid to the national championship playoffs, the program did what any pompous, arrogant program would do, snub back. Freeman and team decided that the Pop-Tart Bowl would not be how the 2025 team would be etched in collegiate football history, so they eagerly declined. Following the playoff snub, then the reversal Pop-Tart snub, we then saw both Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price make history in becoming the first two running backs to be drafted in the first round of the National Football League from the same collegiate program. As you can imagine, America, the fans were eager to see the boys in gold helmets putter around the field. But to give more context to the spring game, we will hand it off to our live-action field correspondent, Monte Carlo, who is reporting live from the house that Rockney built. What was that? Correction. Reporting live from the house that Kelly built.
Thank you, Rico. We are coming to you live at the house that Kelly built, here in South Bend, and what a sight it is. I would say the entire apartment complex that used to stand here before could not compare to this glorious masterpiece. I would not expect anything less from the all-time winningest coach in Notre Dame history. But I digress. The atmosphere was absolutely rattling. You had to be here to feel it. The afternoon was warm and sunny, perfect weather by South Bend standards. Greeting Mrs. Sun were 45,308 fans, making it the second largest assembly in the history of this rite, trailing only that distant spring of 2007, when fans were anticipating the arrival of five-star quarterback Jimmy Clausen. And what a 3-9 season disaster did that lead to. To be quite forthcoming, America, I still don't have the slightest clue on the scoring system. The blue team, offense, managed a 41-40 victory, a margin so thin it could cut Coach Freeman's hairline. The finality of the afternoon was etched into history by Spencer Porath, the junior transfer kicker, who nailed a 43-yard field goal as time expired. Following a 2025 season with horrendous kicking, and believe me, that is an understatement. The man came through the portal like a knight in kicking armor, appearing to fix the program's kicking woes. That was not the only spectacle. Oh no, in the booth was former Irish legend Ian Book, making his debut as a colour analyst, showing an immense level of knowledge that was almost as impressive as Doug Flutie's broadcasting career. However, it wasn't all sunshine and pots of gold. Five-star true freshman safety Joey O'Brien suffered an early injury, leaving the stadium in a state of total concern regarding his status for the fall. We can only hope the young man recovers, as his talent is undeniable, unlike Notre Dame in the playoffs last season. Turning it back to you, Rico.
Let's talk about the engine of this offense, Monte, C.J. Carr. Entering his second year as a starter, he looked a bit like a man trying to find a bathroom in a dark restaurant during the early series.
That is quite the analogy, Rico. But yes, for a quarterback who was hailed as Matrix-like a week prior, looked like someone who was unplugged from the Matrix mid-huddle. Chris Ash definitely took the media reports from the previous week to heart and designed a defensive scheme specifically to confuse him. And for a moment, it worked. But then, Carr displayed late-game poise, ripping deep balls through zone windows with an arm talent that looked remarkably in control, like the potential Heisman contender he is.
The depth at quarterback is just staggering, Monte. Blake Hebert seemed to lead the second-team offense with a level of detergent that I find personally moving, finishing with 103 yards and a score. He appeared to set the tone early with a 53-yard bomb to Cam Williams that felt like a postcard from the future.
That is right, Rico. And let's not overlook Noah Grubbs, who flashed his potential by connecting with Devin Fitzgerald for a 28-yard touchdown. It's almost a luxury to have this much talent ready to go, something Notre Dame has not had nor seen since the 80s. And what a time were the 80s, Rico. Many, many great memories and mistakes. What a moment in time. But I digress. We were also able to see transfer Mylan Graham serving as a slot-based matchup problem, and boy did he get his wig split on one reception, Rico. Tobias Merriweather was also working the middle as a reliable target. It seems as if coordinator Denbrock has moved away from those heavy tight end sets, favouring 3 and 4 wide receiver looks, because frankly, why play chess with pawns when you have a board full of queens?
Checkmate, Monte. Also in the backfield, we saw Aeneas Williams making his debut officially, out of the shadows of what was Love and Price, asserting himself as the anticipated starting running back. And apparently he's out there training with the wide receiving unit to become a field receiver. He recorded 10 carries for 38 yards and a touchdown, showing the kind of versatility you usually only see in a well-made rotary phone.
But also up front, the offensive line looked as what many would say, gelled, led by Will Black at left tackle. Let me tell you, Rico, he has the ability to move bodies like a bouncer at a club in Miami in the 80s. Anthony Knapp has now moved to guard, which Marcus Freeman says is his natural habitat, and what an ecosystem he created. But the defense is the bread and butter of this team, Rico, let me tell you.
Yes, bread and margarine it is. Defensively, the secondary still seems to be the heart and soul of this program. They recorded 8 pass deflections and 2 interceptions, proving that the transition to coaches Henry and Mickens has been seamless.
That is right, Rico. Ethan Long was simply everywhere. A 20-yard interception return and a level of physicality in the run game that suggests he is all over the place, like a bunch of stray cats in a suburban neighborhood. Jaden Sanders, the Michigan transfer, held the boundary against the elite wide receiving unit with 2 deflections of his own. On the line, true freshman Rodney Dunham consistently flashed like a disco light in the backfield, credited with 2 tackles and a half sack. He's viewed as the next impact edge. Logan Thomas secured a sack of his own, and portal addition Francis Brew was active against the run, shedding blocks as if anyone was really tackling in full contact. Rico, I must go back to you in the studio, for I think Cry and Belly may be calling the fuzz on me, and I don't think my travel expenses cover enough for bail.
And that was our live-action field correspondent, Monte Carlo, reporting live from the house that Kelly built in South Bend, Indiana. Now, as we look toward the 2026 season, Notre Dame sits at number 1 in returning production in all of college football. They are a known commodity with a high-floor quarterback and national championship caliber depth. The only question is whether that defensive line can go from good to great when it matters most. And can Coach Marcus Freeman live up to the leave no doubt mantra that has become the 2026 season battle cry? Or is this just merely another inflated expectation for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish football program? I am Rico Swavae, the voice of college football, coming to you live from the College Pigskin Studio in Barstow, California. Stay prestigious, America. Don't forget to like. And good night. This was your spring game review covering the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and their blue and gold game.